My name is Taylor. What's your name?
Ellie, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. So I just wanted to give like a brief little overview of what today will look like because it'll probably be a little bit different than our other sessions going forward from here. But today I just really want to take the time to get to know you a little bit more, kind of your background, what brings you in. That way we can move forward in this process together, and I can help and we can both learn from each other. So yeah, I'm just gonna be writing down a little bit. As you can see, I've got like some questions here. I'll be filling them out as we go, but I'm gonna do my best to like write down whatever it is that you're saying. And you're more than welcome to look at it at any point, and if there's anything where you're like, oh, that's not what I said, please let me know. I would be happy to change that because I want to write down what you're saying, not and I want to get it right. So yes, so at any point you're welcome to look at this. So to start us off though, I just am curious what brings you in.
Okay, so I graduated last year from college, so I'm in my first year of work, and I'm working kind of like a graphic design job in the city, and I just like have not been able to sleep lately. Like it takes me forever to fall asleep, and I just lay there and like can't turn my brain off, and I think that has been really challenging because I never feel rested, and I'm trying to do this new job that's like already stressful, and I feel like I can't do it to the best of my ability when I am not able to sleep. So.
Yeah, and that can be challenging to try and go into your job and your workplace and try and do the best when you feel like you already can't because the amount of sleep that you're getting is inhibiting you from showing up at your best.
Yeah, I definitely think that's true.
Yeah. So going on with it, in the past, have you ever like dealt with any sleep issues before? Have you had anything that's helpful with dealing with anything stressful?
Yeah, I think in high school I struggled with this a little bit too, just because I was like so busy. But usually it was able to be solved by like I would play white noise and like make sure my room was super dark and like try to kind of like wind down before bed, and like reading before bed helped, and all of that like was pretty effective for what the stuff that I was going through in high school. But now this just feels like so much bigger of a scale that those things don't work as well as they used to, and like I'll do all those things and then I lay there and I still can't fall asleep, and then I'm like mad at myself because I'm like, okay, like why, like you need rest, like just fall asleep, but it's not working. So
yeah, it sounds like it's kind of frustrating that you had these coping mechanisms before and now like in a point where it would be really helpful to be able to use those again, it's kind of frustrating that they're not working.
Yeah, I feel like frustrated is definitely a good word for it, because it's just like you try and you try and you try, and then like everybody suggests things that they think would be helpful or that work for them, and I'm like, okay, I've tried that, like it's not working. And then yeah, I just get like more mad about it every time it happens, which doesn't help me fall asleep.
Yeah, that can be super frustrating. So I'm curious what makes the scale so different this time in comparison to when you were in high school?
I think the stakes feel a little bit higher because rather than just being like assignments for school and like grades, like I feel like as an adult who has a job now, there's a lot more pressure. Like I have to be able to provide for myself and make rent and be able to buy groceries, and like all of that is dependent on me having this job and keeping this job. And there's always like deadlines at work where it's like at school, if you miss a deadline, like you might lose some points, but like at a job, if you miss a deadline, you could lose your job. And so I think that pressure of like, okay, I have to be at my best every day is making it a lot harder, because I'm like, yeah, like now I need to be rested in order to do this job, in order to keep having an income and be able to like provide for myself. So it just feels like the stakes are a lot higher this time.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it's first off just intimidating to be in the working world in general, and then when you feel like there's something out of your control that's inhibiting you from being the best of your, and then also having that subtle fear in the back of, if I don't fix this, I could lose my job. job, yeah, that can feel overwhelming and almost adds to the stress that might be preventing you from being able to fall asleep too and sleeping well. Yeah. Do you feel like you have any support walking through this season of your life?
I have, so most of my friends have moved kind of like, we're all kind of spread out, like all my college friends are all kind of spread out throughout the country right now, because we all like took jobs in different places and stuff, so I'm living alone, which I think is hard, and I've made a few friends at work, which I think some of those relationships are helpful, but a lot of them have been working there a lot longer for me, so they don't really remember what it was like to be new, or to remember the stress of the situation. So like they try to be helpful, but I think it's hard for them to kind of grasp like what I'm going through. My family is very supportive. Like I call my mom every week, and she is good at kind of like putting things in perspective for me and like helping me talk about it. But I can just tell that my family's kind of worried about me, because they know that I'm not getting enough rest, and they're kind of trying to suggest solutions and stuff of things that have helped them. But like I said, it's kind of just like nothing that people are suggesting seems to be working. So I'm very glad to have their support, but it's not helping with like the problem itself.
Yeah. And it can almost, be like what you said, frustrating to keep hearing the same advice that you're already trying. Almost like, could almost feel a little belittling that like you haven't tried it already,
Right.
or
Yeah, I agree. Like it's like, yes, mom, I've thought of melatonin, or like those kinds of things. It's like I appreciate the input, but also like if there was an easy fix, I think I would have found it by now. And that's part of why I'm like here, because I'm like, okay, this might be like a deeper thing, and like none of these quick like band-aid fixes that everyone else is suggesting like are gonna help. So
yeah, that makes sense. And so you've talked about your family, and it sounds like you have a pretty close relationship with them. Do you guys have any like religious beliefs, any spiritual backgrounds that may be playing into their advice that they're giving you, or their ways of coming through?
yeah, so my family for the most part is Christian. Like my whole immediate family is, and then extended family is kind of hit or miss. But I think, like I know that my family's praying for me in this, which is like comforting. But then it's also like, I'm like, okay, God, like get this figured out for me. Like, why aren't these prayers being answered? And so I think a lot of like what they're advising me on is about like the peace of God, and like how like the Lord gives us rest and all of those things. And like I know in my heart that those things are true, but they don't feel really true like in my life right now, because I'm not seeing them like come to fruition. And so I think like I am leaning on my faith for support, and I do know that like this will be resolved, and that like God does have my best interest in mind. But right now I think I'm a little frustrated with God, because I'm like, okay, like I'm doing all the things that people are telling me to do, like I'm trying to listen to your voice, I'm trying to like lean in and experience your peace, and I just am not seeing any like positive outcomes of that. So yeah.
And it can be a little, I don't know if agonizing is the right word, but just kind of like when you're getting the advice that like you know is truth, of like God is there to support you and like He will provide, but when like everyone is saying that, but you don't feel that, it can almost put a strain on your relationship with God too, in that like you want to trust that He's moving, but like it feels distant at the same time.
Yeah, I think I'm just kind of getting impatient with it, because it's like for a while I was like, okay, like I have to wait on the Lord, like maybe there's a reason that like I need to be waiting, or like He's trying to speak to me or something like that. But then when it happens like night after night after night, I'm like, okay, I'm getting a little over this. Like whatever lesson I was supposed to learn, I feel like I probably could have learned it by now. Like I don't think I need to still keep like struggling with this. So
so sleep being one of the issues, do you have any idea of like other stressors or concerns in your life right now, or is sleep pretty much just
I think the job is a big one. I think I just kind of feel like I know that I'm qualified, but then being the only brand new person there, I kind of feel like everyone else is like way more experienced, more talented, and then I'm comparing myself